my pelvis into the floor as well as tip my pelvis forward to help me have a neutral spine. And then when you're ready, once you've found a comfortable seat, you can start to close your eyes if that feels comfortable. And then just take a moment to settle your attention to all of the points of contact your body is currently making with the ground underneath you. Becoming aware of this constant relationship that you have with the earth. And then from this place of grounding, begin to start to reach the crown of the head up towards the ceiling to extend the spine long. And then from here, start to broaden the collarbone and then roll the shoulder blades down the back. As you slowly and softly pull in on the low belly, and then bring the tip of the tongue to the back of the teeth and release your bottom jaw. Then from here, continue to keep your body in your awareness. And then I'll invite you to start to notice your breathing. And then we'll take 3 rounds of breath together to center ourselves into this space. So when you're ready, inhale through the nose. And then an exhale either through your nose or through your mouth. Inhale through the nose. And then when you're ready, your choice of an exhale. And then last time, inhale through your nose. And then open the mouth and release an exhale. Then you can start to bring your hands to your heart center if that feels okay for you. And then I'll invite everybody to bow your head towards your heart. To take a moment to set an intention for your time on the mat today. Something you can anchor yourself into as your tether throughout these postures and shapes and practices. And when you're ready, we'll take one more full round of breath together to seal our intention. Inhaling through the nose. And then your choice of an exhale. Then you can release your hands and open your eyes. And come back into our virtual space. So today, the theme that I've been working on, at least in my own practice, is it's one of the Yoga Sutras, which essentially are it's like the guide of yoga. It's about like 3,000 to 4,000 years old, and it's these one-liners that kind of tell you the what's, whys, and hows of yoga. And the one that's been particularly important for me this week, and throughout my whole yoga practice, is the one of essentially telling us when we can get access to like experiencing yoga, and they define yoga as like union, peace, serenity, kind of alleviation of suffering. And so we get access to that. And he's the writer of the sutra says 3 things about it. And it's only after a really, really, really long time with consistent everyday practice and with all earnestness. And what I love about this sutra, especially the mention of a really long time, is I feel like he's kind of like mocking me a little bit, where it's essentially like, you know, I can't practice one day and then I've reached yoga, or I can't practice yoga for a week, or, you know, do the 30-day yoga challenge and then I've checked off completed yoga. It's a really, really, really long time. And who knows what that means? Is it this lifetime? Is it another lifetime? Is it 10 years? You know, he just says a really long time. So we're in it for the long haul, is kind of what he's saying. And then the next one is consistency, which is we have to do it regularly. It can't be an on and off practice. Like one day I feel like doing yoga, and then I don't practice for a month. It's like it's every day, every moment, every breath, reminding ourselves to come back to our yoga practice. And then the last one is with all earnestness. And I just love this word because it's essentially guiding us to practice yoga with our whole heart, like being devoted to our yoga practice and knowing that like our whole life is our yoga, in all of our relationships is our yoga, and that everything, if you let it, can be your teacher. So with that, we're going to start in a child's pose. And so if you have your blanket, so actually, I'm going to restart. So bring your big toes to touch and come to sit on your heels. If heels are far away, you can come to bring the blanket between your heels and your hips. If it feels uncomfortable on your feet, you can bring the blanket underneath your feet. But prioritize your hips going towards your heels and then start to walk your hands forward. If your forehead does not touch the ground, this is where the bricks or the blocks come in handy. And then start to rest here. And first, just like let your whole body hang in this shape. As best you can, really releasing and softening into the ground. One of the translations of this sutra is that our yoga practice becomes firmly rooted. And so giving yourself this opportunity to feel potentially what it means to be rooted here. By letting gravity help you do the work. And letting your body release where it can. And from here, start to press into your fingertips to lift up into your arms. So your arms are starting to lift off from the mat. And there's activation that's happening through the outer arms down to the pinky finger, as well as kind of a pulling sensation that's happening in the shoulder girdle. And then from this place, start to walk your hands over to the left. And you might have to move the prop out of the way. And then you can either have your hands next to each other or stack your right hand on top of your left. And then press your hips back, release your forehead. And you can keep your forehead lifted if you like, or you can start to try to release it down to the ground. We'll only stay here for like 2 more rounds of breath. And then when you're ready, we'll inhale to come back to center. And then exhale, leaning over to the right, releasing the hips down, extending the fingertips forward, and then maybe releasing your forehead. And while we move through these shapes, still reminding yourself to pay attention to the roots you have and your relationship to the ground. And then when you're ready on your inhale, we'll start to walk the hands forward. And then this time, you'll keep the left arm forward, and then you'll start to thread the right arm underneath and through. And then come to rest on the right shoulder, and then maybe the right side of the face. Again, if the floor doesn't feel accessible, you can always bring books or blocks underneath to bring the floor to you. And then as you rest here, you can decide whether you'd like to be here passively or if you'd like a little bit of activation where you press the back of the right hand into the ground as well as the left fingertip. Notice how this choice affects your relationship to the ground underneath you. And then when you're ready, We'll inhale to come back to center, extending the right arm. And then on your exhale, starting to cross your left arm over to the right and then come to rest on the left side of the face. And then you get to decide what you'd like to do with the shape, whether you'd like to be more passive and letting the ground hold you, or if you'd like a little bit of resistance and pressing into the earth. Right, and noticing when you do start to choose having more active role that sometimes it takes a constant remembering to stay active or even to relax, right? Then when you're ready, we'll inhale to extend the left arm forward and then start to shift forward onto hands and knees and then move your props off to the side. And then from here, keep the left hand where it is, maybe even walking it like a handprint over to the right. And then you'll inhale to reach your right arm up towards the ceiling, pressing into the left hand as you reach up through the right fingertips without dropping into the left shoulder. Then we'll inhale here, and then exhale, start to thread the right arm over to the left, and then just touch the right side of the face to the floor. And then we'll inhale to reach and rise that arm up. And then exhale, this time you'll move the hand at a diagonal, going towards the knee, and then resting on the back of the right shoulder. We'll do this one more time. So inhale to reach the right fingertips up. Exhale to cross over to the left. And then inhale to reach the right arm up. And then exhale to go at the diagonal. And then from this place, just starting to rest on the back of the right shoulder. And then you can decide what you'd like to do with the left hand. You can keep it out like a push-up position, or extend it forward, or wrap it around your back towards the right hip. Again, knowing that no variation is better than the other, they're just different ways of being in your practice. And that the focal point really is not what you can do with your body, but how your mind can pay attention to how you are in contact with the ground and the experience of being firmly rooted. And when you're ready, wherever your left hand is, start to walk it back to the starting position. And then we'll inhale to peel the right arm out and up. And then exhale to release the right arm down. Take a moment or two in neutral just to kind of notice the difference between sides. And then we'll start this flow on the other side. So inhale to reach the left arm up, opening up towards the left side. And then exhale to thread the left arm over to the right. Inhale to reach the left fingertips up. And then exhale, now coming back to that diagonal shape on the left side. Inhale to extend the hand up. Exhale to thread the arm right. Inhale, left arm up. And then exhale to find that diagonal shape. And then coming to rest on this side. And then you can decide what you'd like to do with the right hand. And it's like your weight goes towards the shoulder, towards the left shoulder. And then you can also use the activation we used in the earlier shape where you press into the back of the left hand. But again, that gets to be your choice. Breathing softly here. And still attending to the sensation of being connected to the ground underneath you. And then when you're ready, we'll inhale to reach the left arm up. And then exhale to release it down, back towards your mat. And then from tabletop, walk your hands about a handprint distance further forward. And then start to lift up on your wrist so that you're just pressing into the front knuckle side. So pressing into that part of your hand just to keep like the idea of what it feels like to put more of your weight in the front of your hands. And then from this place, start to spread from the cleft of your hand to the thumb and pinky side. Start to spread that away as you land the hands back down on the ground. Then keep your pointer fingers more or less parallel. You can decide with like how it works with your shoulders. If your shoulders are a bit tight today, you can turn your hands out. Then we'll inhale here. And then on your exhale, keep your knees bent as you draw your hips back. So keep your knees super bent. We're just gonna focus on the upper body. So press into the knuckle side as well as the outer hand. And then start to roll the outer arm bones around and down. So that there's like a hollowing of the armpit, and then you can reach the crown of the head forward to grow the neck long. And then from this place, then you can start to open the back of the knees as you strengthen the front of the legs. And it's okay if they don't go totally straight. For me right now, it's more important that our spines are taken care of rather than what's happening in our leg. And then commit to 3 full rounds of breath here. And still, while you hold this shape, right, it's a consistent remembering of like having really strong legs. And it's like the legs from the front of the ankle crease are pulling all the way up to the hips. All right. Then from here, on your inhale, we'll start to roll forward and you'll stack your shoulders over your wrists, pull in on the low belly, gaze forward as you broaden the collarbones for a plank pose. And then exhale, slowly release back into a downward facing dog. Inhale to roll forward, plank pose. Exhale, downward facing dog. We'll do this one more time. So inhale to roll forward, plank pose. And then exhale to lean back, downward facing dog. Then from here, lower the knees. To keep them above the ground like an inch or so for 3 rounds of breath. Right, committing to holding this, especially if it feels like a really long time. And then when you're ready, we'll all release onto our knees, untap the toes, sit back on the heels, and then shake out the hands. All right. So now, grab your blanket or bath towel, and you'll sit it kind of in the middle of your mat, and then have your bricks or your books at the front of your mat. And we'll come to bring our knees onto the blanket, and then step your left foot forward. Okay. And so from here, press into the left big toe as you press into the outer foot. And then you'll feel, so from the outer knee pulls back. So this muscle pulls back towards your pelvis as the inside of the thigh pulls away. And then from here, tuck the back toes under. And then we'll inhale to lift the leg. And then exhale to release the knee down. Inhale to lift. Exhale to lower, while still keeping the strength of the front leg. So continue to flow through these. Right, it's kind of easy to remember to do it when we're holding a shape. But while we start to add other movements or other complications, what we've committed to in the beginning can easily be forgotten. And then when you're ready, we'll release the bottom knee. And so you can keep your blocks where they are, or maybe walk them like a little bit back. But we'll inhale here, forward, and then exhale with your toes. You'll start to lean back, point the toes up towards the ceiling as you draw your hips back and stretch the back of the left leg while still drawing the outer hip of the left leg back. Then we'll inhale to bend forward, coming back into a lunge shape. And then exhale to sit back. Inhale to sit forward. And then this time, keep the sole of your left foot on the floor. So we're not bringing the toes back up towards the face, we're keeping them on the floor. As you start to extend the left knee and sit the hips back. So my leg doesn't really straighten that way because I don't have that motion in my ankle, but we'll move through those shapes. And just trying to stay grounded through the left foot as best you can. Again, sometimes it's just the effort that counts rather than what it looks like. And then when you're ready, the next time you're forward, stay there. And then walk your brick of the right hand in. You might get to lower it. You get to decide what feels stable for you. Where you're not dumping into the right shoulder. Then from here, you'll bring the left hand to the left thigh. And you'll start to press into the right hand, but lift up through the armpit. And then use the left hand to turn the abdomen over towards the left leg. And then you can decide here, if this feels like enough, you can stay here. Or you can start to include the left hand. Reaching up through the fingertips. And again, without dumping through the right shoulder, right? There's still a lifting that's happening through that side of the body as you're turning the abdomen and not forgetting what's happening in the legs. So as you hold this, you might decide that you can tuck the back toes and lift the back leg, being really strong in the back leg without forgetting what's happening in the front leg and what's happening in the twist, right? So commit to 3 more rounds of breath here, in whatever shape you've chosen, right? Knowing that there's all sorts of things to be consistent with and to remember how to do. As well as, how would this shape change if you were to do it with your whole heart, with earnestness? And then when you're ready, you start to release your left hand down if it's lifted, release your right knee down if it's lifted. And then from here, just start to bring your left leg back. And then we'll switch sides, so bring the right leg forward. And then we'll kind of set up the right side. So press through the right big toe and the outer foot, as well as the ball of the right foot. Then wrap the outer right thigh towards the back, or towards the right hip as the inside of the right thigh pulls forward. Then from here, start to roll the shoulder blades down the back and open the heart here. Again, kind of reminding ourselves to have our hearts in all of the postures that we do. And you'll tuck the back toes. And then inhale to lift the back leg. And then exhale to lower the knee. So move through these following your own breath pattern. As you lift, inhale. And as you lower, exhale. Without forgetting what's happening in the front leg and doing it with an open heart. And then when you're ready on your last one, lower your back knee to the mat. And then we'll inhale here, and then exhale, start to draw the hips. Bring the toes with you as you sit back. Inhale to move forward. exhale, continue with the toes to move back to bring your hips back. We'll do this one more time with the toes. And then next time, keep your right foot on the floor as you exhale to extend the right leg, draw the hips back. And we'll do that 2 or 3 more times. Kind of, you get to decide how much you want to do that particular movement. And then when you're ready, we'll come forward. And then keep your left hand on the brick or the stack of books. And then you'll bring your right hand to your right thigh. Then we'll inhale here. And then your exhale, start to press into the thigh as you turn the abdomen towards the right side. Then from here, you can decide whether this feels like enough or if you'd like to extend the right arm. And then first breathe here with the knee down for 3 rounds of breath. Again, remembering to consistently remember what's happening in your legs, as well as worrying or like focusing on the open heart here. And then if you feel pretty stable here and your breath feels smooth, you can start to tuck the back toes under and lift the back leg. And then once you've transitioned into that shape, committing to 3 rounds of breath there. And I'll ask you the same question I asked on the other side. How would this shape change if you were to do this with your whole heart? If all of you was in this shape. And then when you're ready, you can start to release the back knee down. And then from here, we'll step the left foot forward to meet the right, coming to find a forward fold. If you're experiencing any low back stuff, just use the props that you have to keep the back at a 90-degree angle rather than do the forward fold. And then we'll breathe here for maybe 2 to 3 rounds of breath. If you're in the forward fold, you can grab opposite elbows or just release the hands to the floor, kind of whatever feels meaningful to you. While keeping the legs really strong here. And then wherever you are, you can bring your hands towards the tops of your thighs to help push you up into a standing shape, or you can bring your arms out to the side and then up to come into a full standing shape. And then exhale to bring your hands to your heart. And then shake it out. All right. So I'm gonna try to fit me on the screen. It's kind of hard because my apartment's quite tiny and I'm quite tall. So we'll see how this goes. So you won't need your blanket, but you will need your bricks. And we'll just start at the top of your mat. So imagine that I'm there. I'm just gonna look at you this way. And then bring your hands to your bottom ribs. Then we'll inhale here and then hop our feet slightly out and then hop them back together. And then do this 3 times. All right. Then from this like center place, you'll step your right foot back and you'll have your right foot kind of at an angle towards the front, but then you'll have your feet kind of like they're on railroad tracks rather than a tightrope. So it's a wide stance. And then you'll bring your hands towards your bricks that are around, or bring your bricks around your foot. And then we'll come back into a standing shape. Bring your hands to your hips and then feel as if from the outside of the left foot all the way to the hip is pulling upwards. Then from the outside of the right leg all the way to the outer foot, there's a pushing down that's happening, right? So there's a lifting that's happening in the front of the front leg and a pushing down that's happening in the back. Then we'll inhale here, reach the crown of the head upward, and then on your exhale, start to hinge at your hips, lead with your heart, and forward fold. Coming to bring your hands towards the supports that you have underneath you. Have a really, really long spine here, while still keeping that lifting energy that's happening in the front leg and a pushing down energy that's happening in the back leg. Then we'll inhale here, and then on your exhale, walk your blocks forward. And then let your invite your torso to release down towards the front leg. Again, if the forward fold does not feel comfortable for you, you can always stay with that 90-degree back. And commit to 3 rounds of breath here. Still remembering to be firmly rooted in your feet as you hold this shape. And when you're ready, on your inhale, start to walk your blocks back. And then keep your right hand on the brick that's next to the opposite foot. I have to lower my brick down, or else I'll sink into my shoulder, but you get to decide how high you like the brick or the books that you have. And then bring your left hand to your left hip. And then you'll invite that lifting energy that you are feeling from the feet. The hand will help you there to push the hip back. Then from here, you can start to turn the abdomen and then turn the chest towards the left. You can decide that this feels like enough turning and enough of a twist for you. Or you can decide to extend the twist and reach out through the left fingertips. Again, making a choice for you and your body, but remembering also not to dump in the right arm, that there's still activation happening and there's still space in that right shoulder. And then we'll commit to 3 more rounds of breath here. And then on your final exhale, starting to turn the chest towards the feet. And then come on to the highest height of your blocks. We'll bend the left knee, reach the right heel up, and then step the right foot forward. And you can, again, either find a forward fold or this halfway lift, maybe even wiggling the hips. I just started doing that and that felt really good, so I invite you to do that as well. And then we'll bring the hands to the tops of the thighs or sweep the arms out to come to a full standing shape. And then exhale to bring your hands back to your head. All right, lucky us, we have a whole other side. So come to the top of your mat, still have the blocks there. Bring your hands to your bottom ribs. Then we'll inhale here, exhale to hop the feet out. Inhale, feet in, exhale, feet out. One more time, inhale, feet in, exhale, feet out. All right, and then inhale, back together. Okay, so keep your right foot forward, and then this time we'll step the left foot back, and you'll have the left foot kind of at an angle. And then bring the blocks around the right leg. And then you'll bring your hands to your hips and then turn your hips back. And then feel as if the outside of the right foot is pulling up towards the outer right hip as the outside of the left leg is pushing down through the outer left foot. Then we'll inhale here to reach the crown of the head up. Exhale, leading with the heart, forward fold. Bring your hands towards the bricks. And then in this place, keeping the legs really strong, pulling in on the low belly as you reach out through the crown of the head here. And commit once again to 3 rounds of breath. letting your breath be soft, as well as have it be your point of focus as we hold this shape. And at your final exhale, we'll start to move the block underneath the left hand towards the inside of the right foot and maybe even a little bit forward. That's just what works for my body. You'll have to figure out what works for yours. And then bring the hand on the brick, and then you'll bring the right hand to the outer right hip. And then from the outer right foot, feels if the energy from there, you're facilitating the pulling upward with the hand. Then start to turn the abdomen and turn the chest over to the right. And then you can decide here what you'd like to do with the right hand while still being pretty conscious about the relationship your feet have with the ground, as well as what's happening with your breath and doing the shape with your whole heart. Right, and notice especially in these more challenging shapes, the tendency to want to check out. And can you invite yourself to check in, to be here fully as best you can? And then when you're ready, we'll start to release the right arm down. Start to bend the right knee. And then we'll start to lift the left thigh or left leg, and then step the left foot forward to meet the right. And you get to decide what forward fold feels meaningful to you. Whether it's the like L shape or a full forward fold. Then from here, when you're ready, we'll just start to bend the knees and slowly lower the hips onto the floor. You can use your hands to help facilitate the lowering. All right. Then from here, you'll actually, so start to bring your feet over to the left side. Let me move my screen so you can see. Okay. So your feet are over to the left side, and then you'll bring the top of your left foot to the arch of the right. It's like a nice little basket that's already like built into your body. And just come to sit on your hips. Your left hip is going to be up, so don't worry about it not touching the ground. But start to bring your right hand behind you. If the floor is really far away, just come to bring a block or the set of books. And then you'll bring your left hand to the outside of the right thigh. And then your inhale will reach the crown of the head up. And then exhale, starting to turn from the abdomen, then from the chest, and then maybe your gaze goes over your right shoulder. While still keeping the spine really long here as you turn and revolve. While not forgetting the point of contact your right sits bone is making with the ground. And like letting your pelvis kind of turn into this, right? Sometimes we have a tendency to like be rigid about where our pelvis is going. Like let your body kind of improv the shape as best you can. And inhale here, and then exhale to release. So bring your hands forward. We'll come into a tabletop and then sit your hips back on your heels. And then we'll start to bring the hips over to the right side, or left side, excuse me. And then you'll bring the top of the right foot into the bottom arch of the left. And then if you used support behind you, just bring it to where the left hand can be. And then you'll bring the left hand back behind you. And then you'll bring the right hand to the outside of the right thigh. Left thigh, excuse me. Inhale to reach the crown of the head up. And then your full exhale to turn belly, heart, and then maybe your gaze over that back shoulder. And letting this twist come from the ground. Right, that you already have established roots, and letting yourself grow and turn and evolve from there. And we'll inhale here, and then exhale, come back to center. All right. Then from here, extend your feet out in front of you, and then start to like move your hips side to side, right and left. And then let your knees fall over to the left side. And then come to sit up, facing towards the left leg. And then turn your torso that way. So you can stay here if this feels like enough for you. Or you can continue to make it a twist where you bring the left hand behind you and the right hand to the outside of the left thigh. Or you can make it a bit more restorative, and if you have pillows or blankets, then you can come and bring the torso on them as you more passively rest in this twist. Letting gravity help you here. As you continue to bring your attention to how your body is currently making contact with the ground underneath you, and how you can twist from that place, as well as being curious about how you can do this shape with your whole heart, with all of you. And then we'll inhale to slowly lift up if you're on the ground. And then starting to twist back. And then bring your feet to the ground, your hands behind you, and then we'll turn the knees up. Inhale here, and then exhale to turn the knees over towards the opposite side. And then turn your torso on that. I'm just going to do it the opposite way. So you're going to turn your torso towards that thigh. And then you can decide here if this feels like enough, if you would like to continue the twist, or if you would like to make it more restorative by bringing props underneath your torso. Letting your breath be soft here, as well as continuing to have this revolution of the body occur from the relationship you have with the ground. And when you're ready, on your next inhale, if you're on the ground, you can slowly start to lift the torso up and then undo the twist. And then we'll bring both of the knees back up to the center, and then use the hands behind you to slowly release down into the ground. Then bring both palms beside your hips and your feet about hips width distance apart. And then we'll inhale to lift the hips up into a bridge shape, strengthening the back body, pulling in on the low belly while you extend the heart forward while keeping the bottom ribs in. And then exhale to lower the hips. We'll do this maybe 3 more times. So inhale to lift the hips, exhale to lower, and then inhale to lift the hips, exhale to lower. And then we'll do this one more time where you lift the hips, and then we'll hold here for, again, maybe 3 to 5 rounds of breath, whatever you've got in you, while strengthening the back body and opening the front body. Still staying very much checked into this shape and how you'll hold this. And then when you're ready, slowly releasing your hips to the ground. Then from here, start to bring the knees in towards the chest. And then rock your knees over to the right. And then bring your hands behind your head. Interlace the hands and then bring the elbows together. So we're like in a fetal position with the elbows more or less coming together. Mine don't touch, but if yours touch, that's fine. Then on your inhale, we'll start to reach the right arm up towards the ceiling and then over to the right. And then you'll notice the right thigh bone moves back. So let that happen. And then exhale, the right elbow goes up towards the ceiling and then over to the left as the femur moves back over the left leg. Inhale to open up. And then exhale to turn over to the left. We'll do this 2 more times. Inhale, right. Exhale. And then last time, inhale to open. And then releasing as best you can the right arm down to the floor. And then you can keep your hands interlaced behind your head, or you can start to extend the arms long, whatever you're needing in your body here. As you let your breath return to its natural state, as well as continue to bring your attention to how the left side of your body is currently in dialogue with the ground underneath you. And then we'll inhale to draw the right elbow back over to the left. And then release the hands. And then start to roll back onto your back with your knees hugging into your chest. Take a moment or two here, and then when you're ready, we'll start to roll into the opposite side. And then interlace your fingers behind your head once again, but do it in the opposite way, so it'll feel different. It'll feel maybe strange if you've never done it before. And then we'll inhale to reach the left arm up and over to the left as you draw the left femur bone back. And then exhale to curl and twist back, come back. Inhale to twist open and then exhale to curl. 3 more times, following your own breath pattern. And then when you're ready on your final one, just opening up into a twist, deciding what you'd like to do with the arms as you recenter your attention to how your body is firmly rooted right now. Or noticing the possibility of being firmly rooted. And then we'll take 1 or 2 more full rounds of breath. And then when you're ready, we'll inhale to draw the left arm up and over. And then hug the knees and release the hands, hug the knees into the chest, and then roll onto your back. Release your feet down. And just do 1 round of bridge to kind of reset the pelvis. And then extend the legs out in front of you, release the palms out to the side as you make your way into your final resting shape. Inviting stillness to come into the body. As you start to release your attention from focusing on how you are in relationship to the ground, and giving yourself this moment to practice or have the experience of what it means to simply be aware that you are in a body, on your mat, and in this space. As we rest together in the final moments of class in silence. Begin to bring your attention back to your breath. And continue to stay in your lying down position while I read you some words from Swami Sitchinanda discussing this sutra. And the last qualification, in all earnestness. That means with full attention, with the entire application of your mind, and with full faith in your achievement. Even when you want something or somebody on the worldly level, you will be after it day and night. You don't sleep, you don't even eat, you're always at it. If this quality is necessary to achieve even worldly success, how much more so for success in yoga? So let us not be like little children who sow a seed today and dig it up tomorrow to see how much the root went down. We need all of these three qualities: patience, devotion, and faith. Begin to invite a deeper breath into your body. And then slowly, using the next 30 seconds or so, making your way to find a comfortable seated position, whatever that means to you. And then you can keep your palms face down on your thighs, or if it feels okay for you, you can bring your hands to your heart center. As I invite everyone to bow your head towards your own heart, to acknowledge that the path of yoga is not something with quick gains, and it is not an end goal or a quick fix, that it is actually the practice of process, of being on a journey with no destination in mind, but enjoying the lessons along the way. Thank you so much for spending your Thursday afternoon with me and letting me be a part of your dedicated practice. A big, deep bow of gratitude to every single one of you. Thank you.